Alex, Coco trade shots in practice. Manila, Philippines. Former teammates Alex Ela and Coco Gauff shared the court once again to rev up for their Australian Open campaign as potential rivals down the stretch. Ela and Gauff practiced together yesterday at centre court of the Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne Park, according to the video shared by Ela's father, Michael. It's a reunion of sorts for Ela, 20, and former world number 2 Gauff, 21, after teaming up in the Italian Open last year. Ela, with a career-best WTA number 49, and the world number 3 Gauff in their first doubles stint together reached the Italian Open quarterfinals before bowing to reigning champion and home bet Sara Errani, WTA doubles number 3, and Jasmine Paolini, WTA singles number 7, 5-7, 6-3, 7-10. But starting this weekend, the good friends will be on the different ends of the court. Ela and Gauff are both on the upper half of the stacked 128-player bracket, possibly colliding by the 4th round should the stars align for the Filipino pride. Gauff, a 2-time Grand Slam and 1-time WTA Tour Finals champion, is one of the heavy title favorites, projected to enter the 4th round and later with ease, starting with a first-round duel against WTA number 91 Kamila Rakimova of Uzbekistan. It's a tall order for Ela, a rising WTA star, as she goes up against WTA number 100 Alicia Parks of the United States, who shares the record as the fastest female server in history with Venus Williams at 129 miles per hour. Up for Ela in the second round, if ever, is either WTA number 19 Carolina Muchova of Czechia or number 37 Jacqueline Christian of Romania. The gym smelled faintly of chalk and sweat, a scent that had become familiar, almost comforting, to Alex over the years. The afternoon sun poured through the high windows, casting long, golden streaks across the polished wooden floor. Alex bounced the ball once, twice, feeling the rhythm of the court seep into their veins. Across the court, Coco adjusted her headband, her ponytail swinging like a pendulum as she stared down her opponent. Ready to lose again? Coco teased, tossing the ball in the air with a flick of her wrist. Alex smirked, dribbling low. In your dreams, Coco. This wasn't just a casual practice. For both of them, basketball was a language, a conversation between movement and instinct, strategy and improvisation. And today, they had decided to spice things up. They would trade shots in practice. Every basket one made, the other had to respond with a shot of equal difficulty. It was friendly, but it also tested every ounce of skill, focus, and adaptability they had built over countless hours in the gym. Coco took the first shot, a clean three-pointer from the corner. Swish! Alex's eyes narrowed. That was fast. He dribbled toward the other corner, mimicking the angle and arc of her shot. He leaped, twisting midair, and released the ball. It arced high, kissed the rim, and dropped through. Coco raised an eyebrow. Okay, not bad. The game of trading shots became a rhythm, almost like a dance. Alex drove hard to the hoop, spinning and twisting to avoid a phantom defender, laying the ball in with a soft roll. Coco didn't hesitate. She mirrored the move, her body flowing with the ball like it had been an extension of her own arm. Minutes passed, then hours, or maybe it felt like hours, though the clock barely crept forward. The gym had become a private arena, their cheers and grunts echoing off the walls. Every shot was a new puzzle. Coco would attempt a bank shot from the baseline. Alex would mimic it from the opposite corner. Alex would challenge her with a behind-the-back dribble, pulling off a tricky floater over an imaginary defender. Coco countered with a fadeaway jump shot that left Alex nodding in grudging admiration. Wow, Alex said, pausing to catch his breath. I didn't think you had that in you. Coco smirked, wiping sweat from her brow. You're just lucky you caught me on a good day. Lucky or not, Alex knew Coco's practice game was more than skill. It was about intuition, timing, and creativity. She didn't just mimic, she adapted. Each shot she returned carried a subtle variation, a spark of unpredictability that kept him on his toes. All right, Alex said, bouncing the ball. Let's see if you can handle this one. He dribbled toward midcourt, faked a spin, and launched a shot from well beyond the arc. The ball sailed in a perfect rainbow, swishing through the net without touching the rim. Coco's eyes widened. She stepped back to the same spot, calculating the angle, the force, the spin. She jumped, releasing the ball in a motion that was both fluid and precise. Rim. Net. Swish. Alex grinned. Okay, That was beautiful. They traded shots relentlessly, each one pushing the other's limits. There was no scoreboard, no crowd, no stakes beyond personal pride and mutual respect, but somehow, that made it more intense. Every shot was a challenge, a question posed silently across the court. Can you do this? Can you answer it in kind? As the practice wore on, the movements began to blur into a seamless choreography. Alex would dribble, Coco would respond. Coco would pivot, Alex would counter. Sweat dripped down their faces, muscles burned, and yet neither wanted to stop. At one point, Alex decided to mix things up. He dribbled backward toward the three-point line, then, in a sudden flourish, spun, leapt, and released the ball behind his head. A no-look, almost impossible shot. Coco paused, eyes wide, then grinned, her competitive spirit ignited. She shuffled backward, bounced once, twice, and with a twirl, released her own behind-the-head shot. The ball soared and swished cleanly through the net. Okay, Alex panted, leaning on his knees. I think we've officially lost our minds. Coco laughed, catching her breath. Nope, not yet. The sun had begun to dip below the horizon, painting the gym in shades of orange and purple. The shadows of their figures stretched across the floor, and the balls echoed faintly with each bounce. And still, they continued. Trading shots in practice wasn't just about skill, it was about trust. Each knew the other would rise to the challenge, would match effort with effort, imagination with imagination. And in those moments, every shot carried a story, of past games, of victories and losses, of lessons learned and skills honed. Finally, after what felt like an eternity and yet no time at all, Alex made a shot that curved beautifully off the rim and rolled tantalizingly close to falling out. Coco grabbed the rebound and, without hesitation, returned it in a shot that arced perfectly and landed with a satisfying swish. They both collapsed on the floor, laughing, panting, drenched in sweat, but glowing with exhilaration. That was insane, Alex said, leaning back against the wall, ball cradled in his arms. Coco nodded, her grin wide. Yeah, but that's why we practice, right? Alex smiled. Yeah, to trade shots, to push each other, to see how far we can go. And in that moment, the court wasn't just a place to practice. It was a place where friendship and competition collided in the most creative, thrilling way possible. Where every bounce of the ball, every swish of the net, was a reminder that they were stronger, faster, and better together. The lights dimmed, the shadows deepened, and for one last time, Alex and Coco bounced the ball in unison, knowing that tomorrow, or the next day, or the next week,